You're muted.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our tea party today. My name is Margaret Moodian, and I'm Vice President of the Board for TIAS Arms. We are excited about this tea party today, and we've been working hard to make it a fun event. I would like to cover a few housekeeping items. Please be sure to put your microphone on mute unless you'll be talking. If you have any technical difficulties, you can text Gail or Kim, whose names are listed in the box. If you would like, please introduce yourself in the chat box. Now I'd like to introduce from Smith Tea Maker, who has generously donated tea for our tea boxes. Ravi Croson will be giving us a brief demonstration. Welcome, Ravi.
Thank you, Margaret. So glad to be here. So the three teas that you guys have are a black tea, a green tea, and a herbal tea. And the teas can be easily distinguished by the color of the packaging. So the black tea has a grayish package, and that's our Lord Bergamot. Lord Bergamot is our version of Earl Grey. The green tea is in the green color package, and that would be our Fez tea, so equivalent to a Moroccan mint. And then finally, our herbal tea, which is in the orange packaging, is our red nectar. And this is a rooibos. Rooibos is a herb that comes from South Africa that is often used to mimic what a black tea can do, but with no caffeine. And that's a blend using rooibos and a few other ingredients that I'll talk about further. So starting with our Lord Bergamot, is, let me back up first and talk a little bit about Stephen Smith. Stephen Smith Tea Maker was started over 10 years ago by Stephen Smith, our namesake. Prior to starting this tea company, he also started two other tea companies that many of you might know. The first being Stash Tea. Stash was started back in the 70s with Steve selling peppermint out of the back of his van. And over time, he turned that into an actual quite formidable tea company. Because at that time, there really was only Celestial Seasoning in the market. And he was the first person to start thinking about tea in a new way, using full leaf tea and making new blends that were very creative and forward thinking. He built that up to a company along with his partners, and then that was sold and then moved on. A few years later, he started what became Starbucks' flagship tea company, Tazo. And Tazo, the concept there, he thought, like, what if I go back to looking at tea in a new way? We'll include these really interesting blends, but we'll also tell this really creative story. And so with Tazo, the concept was to look at tea making through the lens of buying this brand as a story and a way to kind of experience tea on a sort of elevated level. Once he sold that to Starbucks, he did stay around for a few years managing the company. But finally, he felt that his time was done and really wanted to move on and into retirement. And that's when he moved to France. And he was living in France for about a year. And every day, you know, unlike in the US, where if you go in these smaller villages in southern France, when he wanted to, you know, buy cheese, he wouldn't go to the grocery store. He'd go to the cheesemaker. He was looking to buy, talk to a furniture maker. He would go specifically to someone that made just furniture, not to, a larger department store. And so, with these concepts of constant, the chocolatier, these kinds of things, when he was interfacing with these people and dealing with them, he really kind of became inspired. Like, what if we created a new, more refined way of looking at tea, moving past just telling a story, but creating this craft that really is immersed in the deep knowledge of the product that is being sold, and started from there. So he moved back to the US and began Stephen Smith Tea Maker. Now, these three teas that you guys are going to have are all three teas that Steve created back at the beginning of this company. Our Lord Bergamot, which is a tea that is designed to meet the highest expectations of a Earl Grey drinker, is a really unique blend using specific two different regions of Ceylon, Sri Lankan teas, blending that with a little bit of Assam, which is an Indian black tea, and then adding bergamot oil that's sourced from Reggio Calabria region of southern Italy. That's just if you look at the boot or the boot of Italy, it's at the very tip of the foot part of not the heel, but the foot part of Italy. And so we actually source all our bergamot oil, essential oil, which is cold pressed using cold pressing the peels of bergamot, and that creates this very fragrant, intoxicating aroma as well as flavor profile that we really rely on. This process for making bergamot happens between December and January, so very important for us to actually, we buy all of our essential oil for bergamot essential oil during that time. And it's been a few years where we felt we've actually been cupping the last lots of bergamot oil and really worried we weren't going to get the flavor profile right. And just that last lot actually did it. So this tea is a great tea to drink with milk or without. We recommend how to brew it. First step is always using good quality water. If you have access to a spring water, that would be recommended, or a filtered water. You don't want to use tap water for any of our teas, and we recommend highly against that. At bare minimum, using, say, like a Brita filter. What this does is it removes impurities and elements to the water that can actually affect the tea's flavor. So starting with the water, using something at least filtered, we recommend boiling the water and then steeping the tea for 5 minutes. The teas come in a sachet, and that sachet will get you about anywhere from 8 to 12 ounces of a cup. So a standard cup, a smaller cup, something like this size, for instance, is a 8-ounce cup. If you were to use something a little bit larger, you could still work with 1 tea sachet. But if, say, you had a cup twice the size, you would be looking at wanting to use 2 sachets. So we steep that for 5 minutes. You would want to remove the sachet once you're done with that steeping time. You could set it aside or put it in the garbage. The material that we use for these is compostable, so commercially compostable, not compostable for the backyard. And it's made using a soilon, which is a plant-based material. What you can do is, if you are interested, you can re-steep. And what I would recommend, if you wanted to re-steep the tea, is to put it back in after you'd finished the cup and use boiling water again, but steep it probably for about 7 minutes. And at that point, you can remove the leaf, get the tea bag, or you could even leave it in at that point and allow it to brew as you continue drinking it. The tea itself will not be as strong in that second cup as it would be in the first, but just something to keep in mind if you are someone that really enjoys sort of maximizing your experience for that one tea sitting, or just like to have multiple steepings for one tea. The second tea that we're going to be discussing is our Fez. As I mentioned, it's a Moroccan mint inspired sort of tea. So if anyone's been to Morocco, how tea is often served there is boiling green tea, boiling really hot green tea, poured into fresh mint, into small glass cups, and these are with sugar. And then this is kind of the sort of standard way of consuming tea in Morocco. And now with this inspiration, Steve, for instance, was a collector of Fez caps. You know, the number on that sachet is number 39, and that was the age when he got his first Fez cap. So all of our numbers have a slight little sort of tongue-in-cheek thing for it. For instance, with the bergamot, you know, Lord Bergamot, that's number 55, and that's supposed to stand as in 1855. Lord Bergamot decreed that this number of bergamot fruits were used to make a thimble of bergamot essence. So that isn't true. That is something that we kind of made up as a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek thing. But with these things, if you look at all of our teas, each of them have a little bit of fun in there and allow you to kind of explore a little bit further beyond the product itself. So with Fez, looking again at how do we craft something that's not just your standard Moroccan mint. And Steve started by using a Maofeng, which is a high-end Chinese green tea, whereas most Moroccan mints use a very low-grade commodity green tea. We blended that with spearmint, and that's your traditional Moroccan mint, spearmint green tea. What he did is took it one step further and added lemon myrtle. Lemon myrtle is a fantastic botanical that comes from Australia that has a very, very strong and prominent lemon note in the flavor profile. So taking that spearmint and that lemon myrtle and just balancing it ever so slightly to delicately give you this really expansive flavor where you do get that classic green tea and mint, but you also get this really nice new world because of that lemon myrtle, that lemon flavor that really works so well with the green tea and the mint. Now with this tea, we recommend that everyone brews with colder than boiling water. So we recommend 185. Now you may have a temperature adjustable kettle, and if so, great, 185, you set it, you're good. You would steep it for 3 minutes. Now, if you just have, say, like a kettle that goes to boil, well, what do? The easiest suggestion that we would recommend is to take that kettle boiling and then pour that kettle into the cup without the tea sachet and let it sit for about 2 to 3 minutes. And at that point, you could put the sachet in. That will bring the temperature down. That'll allow for it to be about 185, and it will allow you to then brew your tea for 3 minutes. So that's something that we would recommend, again, using either using filtered water or fresh or some spring water. One of those two would work most ideally. And then lastly, we're going to talk a little bit about our red nectar. And our red nectar is a great, like I said, rooibos is a great substitute for black tea that offers a caffeine-free sort of experience. You can add milk and sugar to this tea, and it just allows for a similar experience. Rooibos not only gives you vanilla and some malt, but also has some piney sort of notes to it as well. And what we add to this is we also blend it with green rooibos, which is a sort of unprocessed style of rooibos. Rooibos often, what people know as rooibos being is very red in color and flavor profile, has this more earthy, malty quality. Green rooibos is unprocessed unprocessed rooibos that tends to be very bright and almost piney and with a little bit of astringency to it. And then we blend those two with honeybush. Honeybush is a cousin relative. It's a relative of the rooibos plant, located in the same part of Western Africa, southwestern South Africa, excuse me, and can only be found wild harvested. So this, whereas you can farm rooibos in a traditional way, honeybush needs to be wild harvested. Although they've created farms to be able to do this now. So, and then finally we add to that, we add a little bit of peach skin natural flavor. And what that does is it kind of brings the whole concept together. It's not just simply rooibos, it's rooibos with green rooibos, honeybush, and then the natural peach skin flavor. And it allows this really to bring all the strengths of each of those together to create this really sort of intoxicating, unique blend. And the way we recommend brewing this as well is in the same way that we would with our black teas, using boiling water, again, either spring or filtered, and then brewing that for 5 minutes. With red nectar, it is a tea that can be very forgiving, so you don't have to worry too much about over steeping. If you like a stronger cup of tea, even after that 5 minutes, you can leave the sachet in and allow it to continue to steep. And as I mentioned with the first, with Lord Bergamot, with Fez and with red nectar, if you wanted to follow our steeping recommendations, you likely could get a second steep if you steeped each of those teas a little bit longer. And then lastly, for the number of red nectar, it's the number 13. And as the numerology, if you will, that means this tea defies the odds. So, with number 13 being unlucky, this is quite a lucky tea. And with that being said, that's a kind of a nice sort of touching base of all the 3 different teas that you guys have. And happy to answer any questions anyone might have, or if not, I wish you guys the best of tea party. And thank you again for thinking to have Smith as part of it.
Thank you, Robbie. That was extraordinarily interesting. And we've tasted the tea and they're absolutely fabulous. Oh my! I've just noticed that we have a surprise guest who joined us. Welcome, Your Majesty.
Yes, with all of the chatter on social media, including speculating what tea I drink, I thought I could pop over and make sure this tea party goes according to proper tea etiquette.
Oh, I see that you are sipping tea from our 20th anniversary commemorative mug.
Yes, dear. It's not proper, you know, but since it's for the children, I thought it would be appropriate for this occasion. My, look at all those fabulous hats. For all of those who want to participate in the hat competition, there are two categories, a handmade hat and a purchased hat. Please put your full name and category in the chat. We'll be judging during the event and will announce the winners at the end of the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Your Highness. Really, really lovely having you here. And welcome everyone. It's so nice to have you here. And for those of you that saw the tea demonstration, many thanks to Ravi and Smith Tea. My name is Margaret Moodian, and I'm Vice President of the Board for TIAS Arms. Let's see, I'm just gonna, we are excited about this virtual tea party today. I would like to cover a few housekeeping items. Please be sure to put your microphone on mute. If you have any technical difficulties, you can text Gail or Kim, whose names are listed in the box. If you'd like to introduce yourself in the chat, please do so. We'll be taking a screenshot shortly. So if you would not like to be included in this, you can turn your camera off. So real quick, we're going to do a screenshot of our party. So I'm just going to do the gallery view. And on the count of 3, we'll smile. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. Thanks for joining us today. Now we would like to introduce you to Joanne Baker's daughter, the founder's daughter, Kim Baker. We are so fortunate to have her here today since she has been with TIAS Arms since the very start, and she even came up with our name and logo. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you, everybody, and good afternoon. I'm very pleased to be here with you today to give you a little history of TIAS Arms, particularly the name. It all came back from a trip that my mom took to South Africa with our very good friend, Dr. Gabriela Mioto, back in, well, 20 years ago. They had attended a conference focusing on AIDS and had visited townships. Of course, this is a trip for my mom, who is originally from South Africa. She came home full of passion and compassion about the plight of the people of South Africa, particularly the children. And what she said to me was, Kim, I want these children to be held, and I want them to know that they are loved and that they matter. And through that experience came the genesis of this organization. When it came time to choose a name, I suggested that we call it TIAS Arms. My thought was that I really held on to that thought that my mom had about the children being held. And I envisioned this view of arms reaching out to hold the children. And if you've ever noticed in the logo that the heart symbol is meant to represent an adult and a child together. And that is where the name TIAS Arms came from. So with great pleasure, so we formed TIAS Arms 20 years ago. And with the specific mission and purpose that TIAS Arms is a nonprofit, non-denominational organization that believes in providing a dignified, nurturing, and compassionate environment for orphaned or abandoned children affected by HIV/AIDS in South Africa. So with great pleasure, I introduce to everybody my mother and TIAS Arms founder, Joanne Baker.
Unmute yourself, Joanne. Unmute yourself.
Now, can you hear me? Oh, Lordy. I can hardly keep from staying in my seat because I'm so very, very happy to see all of your wonderful familiar faces. And oh yes, hi, wave, wave. I love it. I'm so excited. This is wonderful to be able to do a virtual event and have friends far away be able to join us. Well, welcome to the newest TIAS and TOs, aunties and uncles, to our village. And welcome all old friends and new, so many familiar faces. And we are very happy to have Zandili from Never Never Land and Lorraine from Kazi Miller Children's Home. They're joining us from South Africa, for they, along with their staff, are the boots on the ground. And thank you to those who brought along new friends to TIAS Arms. Our guests are up 50% from last year's virtual successful tea. Do you like your tea boxes? With this wonderful increase in guest numbers, our 3 volunteer bakers made 1,200 cookies. By the way, they're all healthcare workers, still giving in their spare time. There's Dr. Gira doing a bow down to our bakers. Anyway, it was a year ago today that I returned from South Africa to the US on a repatriation flight after being caught in the initial COVID lockdown in South Africa. I'm hoping to go back in September, if allowed, to finish my visits to the groups. I felt so cheated not being able to be with all the children, only having visited 4 out of our 7 groups before the lockdown. In our program today, you will see happy, joyful faces. For a South African child, joy is in their very bones and in their heart, evidenced in their song. However, the reality is also about struggle and survival. You are the TIAS arms to help with this. Today, we're going to show you a little of what we can do, what we do because of your generosity. 20 years ago, I never dreamed that we would reach $1 million, but we did. Thank you. Yes, thank you, all of you. $1 million, incredible. All of us at TIAS Arms feel grateful, so grateful to you, our donors, for believing in our outreach to the children and their caregivers. Thank you for trusting us to deliver your generous caring and compassion for the children so far away in South Africa. For together we have been able to affect the lives of hundreds and hundreds of children. As Dr. Margaret Moodian, the Vice President of the board, recently said, the children depend on us. And this is truer today than ever before. AIDS and poverty do not go away because of COVID. We still need to pay attention. At times over these 20 years, my energy has flagged because I'll be honest, administrative work is not my favorite part of what we do. But I would like to introduce you to somebody who has made a huge impact on our organization, Dr. Anita Lampel. Anita came with her strengths, compassion, and daily dedication. Anita took the reins and propelled us forward in leaps and bounds. She offers direct support and outreach to the principals in the groups we support in South Africa. She's also donating monies. She was planning on leaving TIAS Arms in her will, but decided to do that as a living legacy so that the children can benefit now and she can be part of that impact. It is my honor and with deep gratitude that I introduce Dr. Anita Lampel, President of TIAS Arms Board.
Thank you, Joanne. Now I have to recover. All right. Well, on behalf of the TIAS Arms Board of Directors, I also welcome you to our 20th anniversary tea. Our board and amazing volunteers have worked tirelessly on this Tea Party as they do for all of our events. My deepest appreciation to them. Because of them, we can send 93 cents of every dollar to our grantees. Let me turn your attention now to why we do this work, why we are here to raise money today. Children. Providing orphaned, abused, abandoned, poverty-stricken children impacted by the HIV/AIDS crisis, and now COVID in South Africa, with shelter, caregivers, education, food, sanitation, and therapy, including the occasional soccer ball. Your money goes to our 7 grantees who help these children day in and day out, and with whom we maintain ongoing close communication. Hokisa, a residential program for abandoned, orphaned, and abused children, often with the diagnosis of HIV. We provide education support and the so-needed new shoes, sheets, and towels. GAPA, grandmothers and grandfathers who are taking care of their orphaned grandchildren. We fund a sustainable organic gardening program and also supplemental food purchases. You'll meet some of these grandmothers later. Howick Hospice. The staff serves children diagnosed with HIV and often accompanying tuberculosis. Your money buys high-calorie food parcels for the children and a caregiver to check on them at least monthly. Waves for Change. This innovative program combines sports with ongoing counseling and support for highly vulnerable kids. Your money goes specifically to ensure that girls participate and feel safe and supported. St. Joseph's Preschool. Vital preparation for elementary school could not happen for these bright children without our support of transportation from their outlying remote villages to the school. These are children who get on a little bus all by themselves at the age of 4 and 5 to go to school. We supplement their tuition, and we also help with an HIV/AIDS outreach program for their parents and guardians. Never Never Land Full Service School. Your contributions have helped to grow this from a preschool to a school that serves children through the 4th grade, with additional components of a sustainable gardening program that helps to feed the children. HIV/AIDS workshops for 3 villages, assistance to abused and neglected children, and so much more. Kazimula. This program Joanne Baker literally helped to start has grown from a lean-to shelter to a residential program for up to 30 abandoned and abused children. We provide vital staff support, staff training funds, money for therapeutic services, and yes, soccer balls. And now to our program.
Children's Home. I'd like to welcome you all to the tea this afternoon and thank you, give you a vote or a word of thanks on behalf of the 300 children that TIAS Arms has already impacted at Kazimula Children's Homes through the years. Thank you for all you do, and I hope you enjoy your tea fundraiser this afternoon. You don't say cheers, but I suppose pinkies up. Enjoy.
In 2020, COVID-19 ripped the world apart. Master KG's song, Jerusalema, originated in South Africa, and based on a hymn, it gives hope and unifies a world in peace and harmony. TIAS Arms is a non-profit organization that brings relief to children in South Africa affected by HIV and AIDS. We have come together today as a board and as lovers of TIAS Arms to bring our version of Jerusalem.
Jerusalema ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana Jerusalema ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze
My name is Donna Worsham, and I'm a board member with TIAS Arms. Our virtual fundraisers have allowed us to continue our efforts to support our grantees while social distancing. It's also provided a very special and unique opportunity to include our grantees in our events. The next organization to join us is GAPA, Grandmothers Against Poverty and AIDS. Today, all over South Africa are grandmothers holding families together affected by HIV and AIDS and poverty. Over 50% of the children in South Africa are raised by their grandmothers. GAPA provides after-school care and a meal for the children. Their motto is "Together we are stronger." Several years ago, I had the pleasure of meeting these lovely ladies and touring their abundant vegetable gardens. I'm sorry, it moves me every time I think about them. Today, you will have the opportunity to meet them as well. Imagine these lovely ladies sitting at your table, sharing tea and singing from their hearts.
So the reason we are gathering here, we want to say thank you to TIAS Arms, because the COVID-19 was very, very, very bad here in South Africa. And GAPA was closed because of the COVID. And we stayed at home and we had nothing to eat. And it makes us very, very, very terrible, because we used to come to GAPA and at least per day we know we got a plate of meal. So we just want to say thank you very, very, very much to TIAS Arms, because more than anything, if we can have the garden back, That's what is very important because we're gonna plow. We can do the plowing. We are sure of that. So thank you very much, TIAS Arms. And gathering here, we're gonna make a good song that will shake you up, guys. I know that. We are very much in singing. Thank you very much. Hear the song. You must never give up. 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 Oh, never, 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 never give up. You must never give up. Never give up. Never give up. Never give up.
Hi, everyone. I hope you can all hear me from your personal devices and desktop. And a very, very warm welcome to you all. My name is Belinda Stewart-Berger. And for my sins, I have been appointed auctioneer for TIAS Arms, and it is my blessing and my pride. I'm a board member for TIAS Arms, and by my very strange accent, I am a native South African. I would like to start out by saying that both Joanne and I were born in South Africa. We were born on the African continent, and everything about South Africa is in our blood. It's in our soul. It is home to us. And the people that TIAS Arms supports, they are indeed so indebted to all of you. It blows me away every single time I meet with everybody who supports TIAS Arms that you all have found kinship in South Africa. For me, it's easy. It's just part of who I am. It's part of Joanne's dream. But to all of you, what motivates me each and every day is your generosity, because without you, there is no TIAS Arms. You all are the bread and butter and the meat and bones of this particular organization. So today we begin this exciting part of the program where you all get to bid and you all get to purchase in support of TIAS Arms. And I'm hoping that by now, since you all received your goodie boxes, and by the way, I ate all the cookies in the household and in my goodie box in a good flat 30 minutes. So for those of you that were able to hold out, good on you. But inside your goodie box, you would have received a little bid sheet. I'm having difficulty showing it up with the green screen, but I'm hoping by now that you have marked off on your bid sheet your wish list in support of TIAS Arms. After the tea, or for those of you that are tech savvy during the tea, please go to the TIAS Arms website. You will see on your screen, this is what it looks like, where you are able to either pay by PayPal or by check or by credit card in support of TIAS Arms. And for those of you who are like myself, tiasarms.org, there Dr. Margaret Moodian put it, but on the bottom of your bid sheet, there are additional directions, because you know that this slide is going to change in a couple of minutes. So we are going to begin with 4 live auction items where we are going to bid up, followed of course by the opportunity for us to purchase a couple of items. So for the live auction, and this is really important, right? This is almost like doing some gambling in Vegas. What you're going to need to do is in the chat box, you are going to need to put place your bid. And where there are 2 items, there's there's, I think the Duffy Boat ride is 2 items. It's going to go to the 2 highest bidders. So let's get cracking, right? Our very first item that is up for auction to the highest bidder is the legendary Durban curry dinner. Now, I didn't realize this, but curry is known as the international global dish. So it really is, it's no coincidence that this is something that, that is there for our taking. This is a meal for 8 people, and it's cooked by none other than our incredible founder, Joanne Baker, and volunteers who will come to your home and using her father's secret recipe will cook and clean up a storm. The meal includes South African wine, chicken or lamb curry, dessert sambals, which are all the fixins that go along with curry. And we are going to start our bid at $800. So for anyone who is, oh, wow, okay. Yes, please put your name up there. Thank you, everybody. I see Deborah Roberts, Lisa. Thank you, everybody, so much for your generosity. It looks like we have Deborah at 1,250. If there is anybody else, otherwise it looks like everybody, I'm probably going to make one last call. All right, Lisa Guerra, and my last call, it looks like Lisa, thank you very, very much, Lisa. It looks like you are, oh, well, nope. We keep going. All right. Last call, Deborah Roberts, I believe that the amazing Durban curry dinner is yours for the taking. No? Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. All right, we are going to be moving on to our second item. The item is donated by our amazing president, Anita Lampel, and it includes 2 bottles of Lieveland South African wine and 2 commemorative wine glasses. And we are going to start our bidding at $35 for this item. Thank you, Donna. So keep bidding in the chat box. So probably if everybody does just focus on the chat box. Donna, thank you very much for your, and Deirdre Smith, $150. Thank you so much, Deirdre. Oh, wow. Debbie Stewart Berger, who doesn't drink, has just purchased 2 bottles of wine for $200. Thank you so much, Debbie. All right. Thank you, Donna. We have 225. Any takers for 2? Oh, thank you, Lisa, for 250. Is anybody willing to top 250, 275, 300? Donna, thank you so much. If there are any takers at 325, now is your opportunity. Otherwise, this is a last call, and thank you everybody for your generosity. And by the way, this wine is superb. We had it at our wine tasting last year, and it is well worth it. So thank you very much, Donna, and this awesome way of supporting TIAS Arms goes to Donna for 300. Thank you so much. Amazing. And I believe now we have a couple of videos that Anita is going to introduce.
I'm going to just, can you hear me?
We can.
All right. So the next, you're going to see the Children of Hokisa. That is And they're going to be having a tea to celebrate TIAS Arms. It's an extraordinarily special event for them, and they are just giddy with happiness, you'll see. And then you're going to see a graduate of Hokeisa, an outstanding young woman. She's going to be in the video that follows. She is now a counselor and a surf instructor for another one of our grantees, Waves for Change. Now, we care very much about the children who exit from our programs into the adult world. And so we are launching this year the TIAS Arms Memorial Scholarship Program for Kazimula's exiting high school graduates, so that they are able to obtain training and education to be able to thrive in their homeland, which currently has an unemployment of 33%. So look for more information on this on our website and in our upcoming newsletter. Thank you, and now to the videos.
Greetings from Hokeisa. Thank you, and let's enjoy the tea party.
Do you want some biscuits? Who's next?
Okay. These are nice biscuits. And you guys want some milk? Let's eat some biscuits.
Before we see the next one, I just want to say something about this little girl. She spent most of her life growing up at Hokeisa, Homes for Kids in South Africa. She was a very, very shy child. It's amazing to see her as a young woman now, being a surf mentor. I can hardly believe how grown up she is from this tiny little shy, timid child who spent most of her life at Hokeisa. But they've empowered her, so here we go.
My name is Coach Fura. I'm from Masi. I grew up in Children's Home at Hokeisa. I'm a surf mentor. I teach kids different committees, give them tools to cope and how to deal with stress. Ways for Change helped me a lot, focus on my future and how to do on my goals, focus on my goals also. Kids see me as a role models. They also see, every time they see me, I'm a mentor and a role model. Yeah, I would just like to say thank you so much for your support. We love you. Bananas. Yeah, boy.
Quite wonderful. All right, everybody, get back with your fingers on the keyboards and your eyes on the chat box, because we are looking at our third auction item, where we are going to bid up starting at 150. And this item is there are actually two Duffy boat rides. So it's going to go to the two highest bidders, and it's graciously donated by our board member, Joy Freeman. And especially during the holiday seasons, this is such a fun thing to do. You get to see the lights, and I'm presuming, Joy, that this is on Newport Bay, but you get to hire the Duffy boat, pack your picnic box, and really enjoy a 2-hour ride, which is extraordinary at this going rate. So I'm going to open up the chat box so I can see. And it looks like, yes, our starting price of 150. And thank you very much, Donna and Debbie, Lisa, 250. Any takers for 300 for the Duffy boat rides?
Heidi Draper at 300.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. All right. Anybody? 325 for Duffy boat ride. And it looks 6 people can actually take this ride together. The boats are plenty big enough. It really is a lot of fun. So let me just see if there's anybody in the We can just make sure that we are bidding
Patty
up.
Bennon at 360
Oh,
and
wonderful. Thank you so much.
325.
Right, any takers? $400 for the Duffy boat ride. If you can make absolutely sure that you are messaging everybody, just so that I can see where we're at, or perhaps I could have another board member just help me out if they are messages for everyone.
Right. I think we have the two highest bidders now, and the bidding has stopped. Are sorry, Patty Bennett,
Patty Bennett and Heidi Draper. All right. Thank you, everybody. That is our last call, and thank you so much to both of you. I hope you have a fabulous time. It is a lot of fun. So thank you so much to Patty and to Heidi. Thank you so much, everybody. All right, and finally, the final auction item is donated by one of our hardest working volunteers, Irene Landry. Irene is one of the incredible bakers that filled the goodie boxes before we delivered them to your homes. And as I said, my cookies were finished in the blink of an eye. And the item that is up for auction is a tea basket that is packed with savory and sweet goodies that would serve 4 people, and that is going to be delivered to your home. So we're going to start our bidding. If you want to get your fingers ready, it looks like Michelle's already up there at $75. So anybody, takers, oh, thank you, Debbie. 200, 250 for the goodie basket. 225 perhaps. Anybody want to go at it? Thank you, Lisa. Right, and if anybody wants to top Lisa, now is your chance. Otherwise, oh, Deirdre. Good choice, Deirdre. Okay. I can hear a lot of groaning from the room next door with so. All right, Lisa, 275. Okay, wow, everybody, thank you so very, very much. It looks like I need to learn to bake. That's I'm looking at you. All right, I'm going to close the bidding off because this way I actually get to have some of those cookies. Thank you so much, Debbie, for your generosity. $300, and the goodie basket goes to a member of my household. So thank you so much. All right, everyone. That was a lot of fun. And again, the children in South Africa depend on you, and you have just made extraordinary things happen for the children in South Africa. You are TIAS Arms. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Certainly from the bottom of my heart, and the board thanks you. Since 1980, HIV and AIDS has caused so much destruction, heartache, and impediment to Southern Africa. TIAS Arms, as Anita and Joanne have stated, over the last 20 years has been a blessed salve against the suffering of the children who have been left without parents and thus without resources and comfort and support. As if this alone has not been burden enough, in 2020, COVID-19 has wreaked the same havoc to the same children who have now been abandoned not only by the loss of their parents, but now by their grandparents who have been a staple in supporting them. Without you, again, there would be children right now in South Africa who would be destitute if it weren't for you. Your generous dollars go a long, long way in South Africa to make an extraordinary difference in the lives of children that we collectively support. And thank you, everybody. We now have a very special video of Zandile, who has wonderfully joined us in the middle of the night from South Africa.
Hi, my name is Zandile Koza from South Africa. I run the Never Never Land school, which is now is more of a center, community center, than a school. I might not be a frontline worker. We have our nurses and doctors to thank for that. But I am on the grassroots level. I work closely with vulnerable and marginalized communities and vulnerable children. The impact of COVID-19 has been devastating for most families. In our school alone, we have children who've come back to school as orphans. Imagine you are 7 years old. Within the space of a week, you lose both your grandmother and your mother, and you are left with just your 15-year-old sister to look after you. Imagine going home every day and mommy's not there. We have children who come to school having had nothing to eat because the breadwinner at home is either sick or they have passed on due to COVID. For me, the statistics, the numbers that we hear about on radio or in television, they are not just numbers. They are these children who have lost parents. They are these children who have to go home and not know where their next meal will come from. Sometimes it gets really, really hard on me too, because they have questions that I cannot answer. Questions like, Miss Koza, if we're coming back to school, does it mean that COVID will no longer kill our parents, our sisters? And I don't have answers for that. I'm thankful to organizations like TIAS Arms, who are more than just an organization that helps us financially, but they also offer support. For me, they've been like a family. I'm able to send an email and say, today I'm sad. Today I can't cope. And they offer words of encouragement so I can be strong for these children who have practically lost everything. And it's very difficult to talk about it because I'm right there. Words cannot express what I have to look at every day. These little faces with no understanding. They don't understand what's going on in the world. They don't understand why granny is no longer there, why mommy is no longer there. And it's sad. It is so sad.
Zandile Xhosa is quite honestly my hero. You are Zandile. We're very happy to have you with us today, and thank you for being the boots on the ground, as Joanne says, being there for the children. We get to see this wonderful, brave, noble, phenomenal woman. So thank you very, very much. Nelson Mandela once said that there is no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children of the world. And we are able to give to the children of South Africa a future. So we now, everybody, get to do a little online shopping. So we're no longer going to be placing bids in a bid box, but I'm going to be sharing with you a couple of items that can be purchased on behalf of TIAS Arms. So starting with our customized stepping stone Each stone is $400, and Africa is known as the cradle of humanity. And this is one way, a great way that we can all return to our roots and be immortalized in African soil. So please consider this. It's a wonderful way for everybody who visits Khazamula to see who supports the children of South Africa. And your name or name of your choice can be engraved on the stepping stone, and they are about 1 foot square, so they are pretty big. But thank you, everybody. And let's move on to our next item. So we are looking to secure at least a year's worth of salaries for our incredible childcare workers. So for only $250 a month, we are able to support the boots on the ground, these incredible, very, very skilled, experienced social workers and people who are able to provide hugs and love and comfort to the children. So thank you, everybody. If you would please consider this, we thank you again from the bottom of our hearts. And TIAS Arms supports the salaries of about 6 teachers, and the salaries at $100 means that we are now able to support education for the children. And I don't need to deliver any further speech on the importance of education to an individual. It gives children dignity, it gives children a quality of life, and it gives them an opening into the world and into a future that is far more beautiful than one without education, particularly for the girls of the world. So please consider supporting a teacher's salary. And food, if we can move on. So high caloric food program for $75, we are able to feed the children. And especially these children are impacted or are HIV positive. And so obtaining good nutrition is really essential for them to enjoy a quality life. And if I can also just add that the grandmothers that help cook and prepare the food make this money go a long, long way. Not only because of the exchange rate, but because of their incredible skills at providing these gastronomic delights for the children. So thank you all so very much. And transportation, if I can say a little bit about transportation, your $50 donation is going to do the following. So as Anita mentioned, that these children travel to and from the townships, which are always settled outside of a town, but they travel safely to and from the townships in order to get to school, in order to receive the education that we know is so important. Transport costs in South Africa are very expensive. Gasoline, or as we call it, petrol, is very costly as well. And so thank you so much for your support of this very, very vital service that TIAS Arms makes happen. And finally, shoes. Shoes provide incredible dignity to the children. Shoes that fit, shoes that are not hand-me-downs. So for $25, you can bring immeasurable joy to the children who, of course, also outgrow their shoes year by year. So thank you, everybody. And a reminder again, in order to ensure or secure your purchase, make sure that you go to the website, www.tiasarms.org, and you can make your purchases before Wednesday, which will be the date that we are going to be closing the site. However, at any time, feel free to make a donation to TIAS Arms. And as they say in Zulu, Siyabonga Gakulu from TIAS Arms to all of you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. I believe that the Queen has something to say. And then We'll have a video and a few closing words.
Yes, I would like to announce the winners of the hat contest. For the handmade hat, it is Elaine Bishop. And for the purchased hat, it is Deborah Roberts. And congratulations, you will each receive a special gift soon. Congratulations.
Thank you, Your Majesty. We have now a video from the Children of Never Neverland, followed by just a few very short closing words.
Oh, there they are. Hello.
Welcome to our school, Never Neverland, with other grade 2s. Her name is Awande Mazibugo and she is Ayabongango. This is our teacher, Miss Madon. We are going to sing for you a song.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones to make a better day, so let's just live it. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a better day, so let's just live it. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a better day, so let's just live it.
Oh, you are the world.
There's a choice we make. We're saving our own life. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. There's a choice we make. We're saving our own life. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. There's a choice we make. We're saving our own life. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me.
Oh, grade 2, you're making me cry because it's so beautiful. Thank you for that lovely song.
Thank you all very much.
All the children are the children of all. Remember the children. They belong to all of us. Siyabonga Gakulu.
You can continue to give at our website, tiasarms.org, where these items will be available up until the 14th at 9 o'clock, and where our gifts and donations page is available year-round. These include items perfect for Mother's Day or that special occasion like our stepping stone. Please purchase those. They are a wonderful gift. And our limited 20th anniversary mugs and our wine glasses. We want to thank you so much for coming and your generous donations. We are sending you a thank you, and there is a survey attached, so please let us know what you think about our tea and what you think about TIAS Arms. We look forward to seeing you at the TIAS Arms wine tasting this fall. Let's hope all vaccinated and in person. Thank you so much for coming.